Welcome to another deep dive. Listeners have shared some pretty intriguing stuff with us this time around.
Yeah.
They sent us these aphorisms
Yep.
from this Pequeño Tratado sobre a Disobediencia
Right?
by Paulo Roberto do Carmo.
Interesting.
And we're going to be taking a deep dive into these like really potent philosophical reflections that
Hmm.
touch upon disobedience, time, desire,
Yeah.
even the human condition itself. So,
It's fascinating how Carmo manages to pack all of these profound ideas into like these short, impactful statements.
yeah.
Each one's like a little spark that can really set off a whole chain of thoughts.
Absolutely. Even the title itself, small treatise on disobedience.
Right.
It's a bold statement, right?
Yeah. It's like he's inviting us to question everything,
Yeah,
like authority, conformity.
totally. And he doesn't shy away from like really exploring the different facets of disobedience.
Oh, he doesn't.
Like aphorism number 74, for example,
Okay.
it suggests that even creative expression can be a form of rebellion. He writes, writing a poem by the sword or by the soul is a way to disobey without being bothered by the police.
That's a good one.
It makes you think about like the power of art to challenge the status quo, right?
Right.
Like think about all the artists throughout history that have used their work to subvert authority. Like you've got Soviet era poets who risked imprisonment to, express dissent.
Hmm.
Musicians who have used their platform to speak out against injustice.
Exactly.
It seems like Carmo is suggesting that art can be like a really powerful tool for social change.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder,
Yeah.
how can we use our own creative voices, whether it's painting, writing, music, any other form of expression, to challenge the things we find unacceptable in the world?
It's a great point.
Yeah.
It's all about finding ways to express our own personal truths.
Yeah.
And by doing so, maybe inspire others to question the norms and expectations that are placed on all of us.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
Carmo doesn't just limit disobedience to the artistic realm.
No, no, no.
Aphorism 205, he states that when everything becomes unbearable, only disobedience liberates.
Mm.
And so this raises the question,
Yeah.
when does disobedience become not just an option, but a necessity?
Right.
When do we need to actively resist the forces that are trying to control us or limit us?
It's like he's acknowledging that there are times when we have to push back against injustice,
Right.
even if it means like facing consequences.
Yeah. But disobedience can also be more of an internal struggle, right?
Of course.
It's about challenging our own limiting beliefs, our fears.
Absolutely.
The things that hold us back from like really living authentically.
Precisely. Disobedience in Carmo's view is multifaceted.
Yeah.
It's about breaking free from external constraints and like the internal barriers that we create
But we create for ourselves.
within ourselves.
Yeah, and as we kind of go deeper into these aphorisms,
Yeah.
you'll see this image of time as a river that keeps coming back.
Oh, it's your fit.
This river that's relentlessly carrying us forward. He paints this really vivid picture in aphorism 13. The river of time drags with its waters the fish of childhood, the nets, the hooks, the old canoe. What is left are the banks at sunset and the grave that waits to lay your remains at the foot of a fig tree.
Wow.
It's like a reminder
Yeah.
of time's like relentless flow and its impact on all of our life. This idea of time as this unstoppable force.
Yeah.
It's kind of unsettling, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then, in aphorism 26, he kind of flips the script a little bit.
Okay.
He suggests that we can take control,
Yeah.
ride time like a wild horse.
Uh-huh.
Time, I grabbed it by the tail and tied it to the mane of a horse, and at a gallop we go, drowned in the sweat of words to guide us to any destination until the horseshoes wear out.
Wow.
There's a real sense of urgency there, a desire to make the most of our limited time, to leave our mark on the world.
Yeah, it's almost like he's encouraging us to embrace the present moment,
Right.
to not let him just pass us by, but to like actively engage with it, to create, to experience, to love, to lose, to live fully.
I like that.
Yeah. And while we're on this like metaphorical horseback ride through time, we inevitably encounter another powerful force,
Okay.
desire.
Oh, yeah.
Carmo doesn't shy away from exploring how messy and complicated desire can be.
No, he doesn't.
He really delves into its allure, its power to motivate us,
Yeah.
but also its potential to lead us astray.
Right.
Aphorism number 2 really captures this tension.
Good.
To desire what can never satiate us, the desire for desire and not the desired object, this is what we most desire. To desire what we will never possess.
Oh, wow.
He's highlighting how sometimes just wanting something can be more intoxicating than actually having it.
That's interesting.
But isn't there a danger in clinging too tightly to desire?
Yeah, for sure.
As he suggests in Aphorism 12,
Right.
the desire that always puts at risk the course of destiny that the gods have reserved for you is the same desire that by the nature of your being will enslave you, he warns. So maybe true freedom lies in learning to let go of certain wants,
Yeah.
in finding contentment in what we already have.
That's a very interesting take on it.
Yeah.
Maybe he's suggesting some kind of balance,
Yeah.
recognizing the power of desire as like a driving force, but also being mindful of its potential to control us.
Yeah, and this brings us to like another layer of Carmo's exploration, the human condition itself.
Right.
What does it even mean to be human? What are the universal experiences that we all share?
Right.
Love, loss, joy, sorrow, the search for meaning.
It's all there.
Carmo grapples with these like really fundamental questions throughout these aphorisms.
And he does so with such striking imagery,
Right.
like in Aphorism 89, he writes,
Yeah.
"It is first in the heart that every man dies, like a horse bleeding between whinnies and billows, and falls in the time it takes for the tremor of wings of a butterfly perched on the horn of a rhinoceros."
Wow. It's like this violent juxtaposition of a dying horse and this delicate butterfly
Yeah.
to create this sense of awe and unease.
Right.
It's a stark reminder of the fragility of life, the inevitability of death, but yet there's also this strange beauty in it.
Absolutely. It's like he's saying that even in the face of our mortality, there's this incredible, vibrant energy within us,
Yeah.
a desire to experience, to create, to connect.
Right, and that desire to connect
Yeah.
often leads us to question our place in the universe, to ponder the existence of a higher power, a divine force that shapes our destinies. Carmo kind of weaves this dynamic, the relationship between humans and the divine
Right.
throughout his work. In some cases, he seems to question the very notion of a benevolent God.
Yeah.
Aphorism 31 poses this almost desperate question.
Okay.
If God does not answer, who should we ask for help if we don't know which way the shot will come from?
Wow.
There's this sense of vulnerability, uncertainty, this feeling of being lost in a world without clear answers.
Yeah.
And in Aphorism 95, he directly addresses the divine. My God, why didn't you create me without desire? Just soul, just heart, hermit in the desert, satiated with all the fruits of the flesh, all the seeds of hope. It's almost a cry of anguish, right?
Yeah.
He seems to be wrestling with the burden of desire, the pain that it can bring, and wondering why we are subject to such longing.
It's fascinating how he challenges traditional notions of faith
Yeah.
and the role of a higher power in human life.
Right. And it's not just the metaphysical realm that he's engaging with.
No.
There's also this subtle but really potent social and political commentary
Okay.
that's embedded within his philosophical musings.
Right.
He definitely doesn't shy away from critiquing power structures and
Yeah.
societal inequalities.
He doesn't.
For example, Aphorism 108, he states, power is a conspiracy of laws against the wretched who beg from the very shadow of the powerful. It's like he's shining a light on the way systems of power often exploit and marginalize the most vulnerable members of society.
That's a good point.
And in Aphorism 114, he takes aim at the dehumanizing aspects of capitalism
Yeah.
from the capitalist system, a dialogue between the rope and the neck, a dream that dies hanged by a nightmare. It's a stark image,
It is.
but it conveys that sense of oppression, the feeling of being trapped in a system that values profit over people.
Yeah, I see that.
It's interesting how he connects these broader societal critiques
Yeah.
back to the individual experience.
Right.
Aphorism 1, he writes, today no longer has the value of yesterday because the past is lived on dreams not lived, leaning out the window while life parades in the street. And it feels like a commentary on how societal pressures and disappointments can lead to a sense of disillusionment, a feeling of being disconnected from the vibrancy of life.
It's like we've become passive observers, just watching life pass us by
Yeah.
instead of actively participating in it.
Right. And that sense of disillusionment
Yeah.
can be a catalyst for questioning the status quo, for seeking alternative ways of being.
Yeah.
Which brings us back to the idea of disobedience, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need to shake things up,
Yeah.
both internally and externally,
Right.
to reclaim our sense of agency and purpose.
It sounds like he's calling for a revolution of the heart, a shift in consciousness that prioritizes empathy and collective well-being over individual gain.
Yes. And he links that revolution to the power of creativity.
Okay.
Because everything is hate and pain and bad conscience. We need to talk and summon word to word, struggle to struggle, he writes in Aphorism 8.
Wow.
After conquering fear, from the chrysalis will sprout the truth of courage unleashed. He seems to be suggesting that creative expression itself can be a form of resistance.
Yeah.
Way to transform negative emotions into something beautiful and meaningful.
It is as if he's urging us to confront the darkness within ourselves and within society.
Right.
And use our creative energy to forge a path toward healing and transformation.
And that path often begins with questioning everything we thought we knew about ourselves and the world around us.
Right. Before you rot, question the dead man inside you about the powers he received and did not enjoy.
Wow.
Carmo writes in Aphorism 168.
That's powerful.
It's this powerful call to action, this challenge to break free from the limitations we've imposed on ourselves and reclaim our full potential.
It's a reminder that true growth often requires discomfort.
Yeah.
A willingness to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace the unknown. Which brings us back to the central theme of disobedience, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Disobedience for Carmo is not simply about breaking rules just because.
Right.
It's about a deeper refusal to conform, to accept limitations, to betray our own deepest truths.
Right.
It's about having the courage to forge our own path.
Yeah.
Even if it means going against the grain, even if it means facing opposition or risking failure.
Carmo's work doesn't offer easy answers or simple solutions, does it?
It doesn't.
He's not giving us like a step-by-step guide to living a more authentic life.
No.
Instead, he's inviting us to engage in this process of self-discovery.
Right.
To wrestle with these really big questions, to embrace the complexities and contradictions of being human.
He's encouraging us to think critically, to challenge our assumptions, to be open to new perspectives. He's reminding us that true freedom is not a destination.
Right.
It's a journey.
Yeah.
A constant process of becoming.
So as we wrap up this first part of our deep dive into Carmo's thought-provoking aphorisms, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What resonated most with you?
For me, it's the reminder that true liberation requires a willingness to embrace discomfort,
Yeah.
to question everything, to constantly challenge ourselves and the world around us.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway. And for you listening, I hope this deep dive has at least sparked your own curiosity about the power of disobedience, the importance of creative expression, the complexity of desire,
Right.
and the enduring mystery of the human condition.
Absolutely.
Remember, Carmo's work is just the beginning, you know?
Yeah.
It's up to each of us to continue the conversation,
Right.
to explore these ideas further, and to discover our own unique paths to living a more authentic and meaningful life.
I like that.
So stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive, where we'll delve even deeper into these potent philosophical reflections.
Can't wait. And that courage, is often tied to our awareness of our own mortality.
Right.
Carmo doesn't shy away from, the reality of death, but he doesn't dwell on it in this, morbid way,
Yeah.
Instead, it's almost like he suggests that our awareness of death can actually enhance our experience of life.
It's like recognizing that our time is precious, and that we should make the most of it.
Exactly. In Aphorism 4, he advises, we shouldn't count age by birthdays, but by hours without regret and nights without remorse. It's this powerful reminder that true living is measured by the quality of our experiences, not just the quantity of time we have.
So not just how long we live.
Right, exactly.
But how we live.
Yeah, he's encouraging us to live intentionally, to savor each moment, to make choices that align with our values and aspirations.
And this sense of urgency is kind of echoed in Aphorism 36. Don't put off until tomorrow the joy you can have today. You were born yesterday, but it is now that you live, not tomorrow.
The call to action, a reminder to seize the day and embrace the richness of life while we can.
Absolutely. And this focus on the present moment also seems to be linked to Carmo's creative drive.
Yes.
He clearly sees artistic expression as a way to kind of transcend the limitations of time.
Right, to leave something lasting behind.
He'll leave something behind, exactly.
In Aphorism 79, he writes,
Okay.
To create is to postpone death every time we replicate ourselves in another desire, another art.
So it's like through art, through creation, we can achieve a kind of immortality.
Yeah, our ideas, our emotions, our perspectives, they can live on long after we're gone.
Right, and it's not just about creating art in the traditional sense.
No.
Carmo seems to suggest that life itself can be an act of creation.
Right, like in Aphorism 110.
Okay.
He writes, life invents itself in another life, a bird of omens and mystery. Just go out the door the instant you are born. He's encouraging us to approach life with a sense of wonder and possibility, to embrace the unknown, to see ourselves as active participants in shaping our own destinies.
I like that. That's a beautiful image.
Yeah.
The idea that life is constantly evolving, that each moment holds the potential for something new and unexpected, and this sense of creative possibility extends to language itself.
Oh, absolutely.
Carmo has this deep appreciation for the power of words to shape our thoughts, our emotions, our understanding of the world.
Yeah. In Aphorism 21, he writes, "While life still breathes, and the smallest grain of sand casts its shadow, free the word from its servitude, and you will be able to go where there are no longer limits."
It sounds like he believes that language is the key to unlocking our potential, to breaking down barriers, to expanding our horizons.
It's a tool for liberation, a weapon against oppression, an instrument for truth and justice.
And he reminds us of the power of words to inspire, to comfort, to ignite change.
Yeah, the word awakens the hope that may exist in a man who does not despair. He writes that in Aphorism 57, it's a testament to the power of language to lift us up, to give us strength, to help us see the light even in the darkest of times.
Yeah, this power is especially potent when it comes to dealing with suffering. Carmo doesn't shy away from the dark side of the human experience. The pain, the loss, the injustices we inflict upon each other.
But he also offers a way to transform that suffering, through language, through sharing our stories, through connecting with others who understand.
He writes in Aphorism 124, "Pain that is not communicated is more than pain and hurts more than anything. It walks without a name, it walks without a face, and swallows itself like fire." He's highlighting the importance of giving voice to our pain, of finding ways to express it and connect with others who have experienced similar struggles.
Right. It's about breaking the silence, finding solace and strength in shared experiences, recognizing that we're not alone in our pain.
Exactly. And this idea of connection, of finding support and understanding in each other is a recurring theme in Carmo's work.
Yeah, I've noticed that.
In Aphorism 5, he reminds us, "In the morning, we will need the other to tell us of the good or evil that the night may bring us."
That's a good one.
It's such a simple but profound acknowledgement of the importance of human connection, especially in times of vulnerability and uncertainty.
Right. We need each other.
Yeah.
To navigate the darkness, to celebrate the light, to make sense of the world around us.
Absolutely. And this sense of interconnectedness is essential for creating a more just and equitable society.
Right. He challenges us to see ourselves not just as individuals, but as members of a larger community responsible for each other's well-being.
Exactly. In Aphorism 128:6, he declares, "Now you know, like the revolutionaries and the madmen, that being alive is to unhumble yourself."
Ooh, that's a provocative statement.
It is. What do you think he means by unhumbling ourselves?
I think he's urging us to shed our ego-driven pursuits. Our need to be right. Our desire for control.
Yeah.
True liberation, both personal and societal, requires a shift in perspective. A willingness to embrace humility, compassion, and collaboration.
It's about recognizing our shared humanity, our interdependence, and working together to create a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.
And that work requires courage.
Yes.
The courage to speak out against injustice, to challenge the status quo, to dream of a better future, and fight for its realization.
Yeah, it sounds like he's calling for a revolution of the heart.
Yeah.
The shift in consciousness that prioritizes empathy and collective well-being.
Yeah, over individual gain.
Exactly.
And he ties that revolution to the power of creativity. Because everything is hate and pain and bad conscience, we need to talk and summon word to word, struggle to struggle, he writes in Aphorism 8. After conquering fear, from the chrysalis will sprout the truth of courage unleashed.
It's a creative expression itself can be a form of resistance.
Yeah.
This way to transform negative emotions into something beautiful and meaningful.
Right. And that path, it often begins with questioning everything we thought we knew about ourselves and the world.
Right. Before you rot, question the dead man inside you about the powers he received and did not enjoy.
Powerful stuff.
Carmo writes that in Aphorism 168, it's a challenge to break free from the limitations we've imposed on ourselves.
Yeah.
And reclaim our full potential.
And a reminder that true growth often requires discomfort. A willingness to step outside of our comfort zones and embrace the unknown.
Which kind of brings us back to that central theme of disobedience, doesn't it?
Full circle, right back to disobedience.
Yeah.
Disobedience for Carmo, it's not simply about breaking rules for the sake of it.
Right.
It's about a deeper refusal to conform. to accept limitations, to betray our own truths.
Yeah.
It's about having the courage to forge our own path, even if it means going against the grain, even if it means, facing opposition or risking failure.
And Carmo's work doesn't offer easy answers or simple solutions.
No, it doesn't.
It's not a step-by-step guide to living a more authentic life.
Not at all.
He's inviting us to kind of engage in a process of self-discovery,
Yeah.
to wrestle with these big questions,
Right.
to embrace the complexities and contradictions of being human.
He's encouraging us to think critically,
Yeah.
to challenge our assumptions, to be open to new perspectives. He's reminding us that true freedom is not a destination.
Right.
It's a journey, this constant process of becoming.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Carmo's thought-provoking aphorisms, what resonated most with you?
For me, it's that reminder that true liberation requires a willingness to embrace discomfort,
Yeah,
to question everything, to constantly challenge ourselves and the world around us.
absolutely. And for you listening, I hope this deep dive has sparked your own curiosity about the power of disobedience, the importance of creative expression, the complexity of desire,
Yeah.
and the enduring mystery of the human condition.
All those big questions.
Yeah, and remember, Carmo's work is just the beginning. It's up to each of us to continue the conversation, to explore these ideas further, and to discover our own unique paths to living a more authentic and meaningful life.
I think that's a great place to leave it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.